It's been just over a week since a fire tore through a New Bedford rooming house here. 2 people were killed. More than 24 others were left without a home. New at 5, Matt Paddock talks with one of the survivors who lived on the 3rd floor about what the last week has been like. Matt?
Mike, Ryann Matos says the past week has been filled with anxiety and panic as she and her fiance are fighting against the clock to see just how long they'll have a roof over their heads.
And now we're scared, lost, and alone. Basically, that's how we feel.
As the city of New Bedford picks up the pieces from the deadly inferno at a rooming house, survivors now living without a home are left to do the same.
I woke up feeling lost and even more scared because I didn't know where I was going to be after 11 a.m. tomorrow. The shelters, they're full. So if we don't have the hotel vouchers, we're back on the street.
But for Ryann Matos,
and we all lost everything we ever had.
It was the loss of irreplaceable, sentimental family relics that hit especially hard.
I had the flag that covered my aunt's casket when she passed. I had my dad's dog tags. I had the article of my aunt being sworn into the United States Army. I had my dad's photos from when he was in the service. I had my grandfather's photos from the service. All of their memorabilia, all of their memories, all of their papers to be sworn in, and they're gone.
Ryann says she was at work when the Acushnet Avenue rooming house went up in flames. She says her fiancé continues to deal with nightmares.
The flashbacks, the nightmares, if he's luckily gotten 12 hours of sleep, he's lucky.
As she claims he did everything in his power to get as many people he could to safety.
I'd say he was responsible for 9 people's lives getting out of that. He used his body as a human ladder to help others, selflessly helped others to get to safety.
Coming up tonight, new at 6, we hear from the city's Director of Housing and Community Development about the challenges they're facing trying to get those displaced back on their feet. Reporting live in studio, Matt Paddock, 12 News.
We're following up tonight on efforts to help the more than 24 people who lost their homes in last week's deadly fire in New Bedford. Those working for the city to keep the roof over those victims' heads say they're doing all they can, but admit it has its challenges. 12 News reporter Matt Paddock joins us now live in studio with what he's learned. Matt?
Mike, for Ryann Matos, one of the more than 24 displaced residents of last Tuesday's deadly fire, says every day is a battle trying to figure out what's next for her and her fiancé. As the Wailing City continues to clear rubble and debris from the former Acushnet Avenue rooming house, city officials say they're doing all that they can to try and keep the more than 24 displaced residents somewhere with a roof over their heads.
These are folks that lived in a rooming house that, they're on the brink of homelessness if we don't get this right.
Josh Amaral, the Director of Housing and Community Development in New Bedford, says there's no denying the city is facing challenges.
How do we continue to keep people in motels for a few more days, buying them a little bit more time to find solutions, and then that medium-term or longer-term response where they're working with agencies to find new apartments, to find housing vouchers and rental assistance programs. Citing
things like housing shortages and funding, just to name a few.
Funds do run out eventually, so the day is always looming that at some point in the future, the motel situation will continue. We, certainly in the state and certainly locally, we're experiencing something of a housing shortage. So there was a time where to move someone from one apartment to another wasn't all that hard. Right now, it's really difficult to find an apartment.
Ryann Matos is one of those displaced by Tuesday's fire, saying the past week has been filled with panic and anxiety.
There's enough shelters. There isn't enough room. And if we don't have the hotel vouchers, we will be outside.
Josh Amaral says that anyone who would like to try and help those displaced by the fire can do so. We've put a link on our website at WPRI.com. Reporting live in studio, Matt Paddock, 12 News.